we now go to these big manufacturers and we think that we are living a life of luxury and purpose with these phones that hypnotize us and are dumbing us down and dulling us. Our kids are being indoctrinated and taught to be sexual.
You know, this entire episode of Verbs, from start to finish, basically what he's just said, that is what World War II really, I think, was about. I'm not disputing the fact. I'm not trying to claim that the war was sort of like fraudulent or fake. Obviously, there was a war, but the way I understand World War II now, and how we're now perceiving these big forces at play in the world, I think that everything that Verbs has just described in his video, all that is what the New World Order governments, even in Germany and Europe, because now we've got Klaus Schwab and so forth, they had that back then, really, but it just wasn't what we call now the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. What it was Bauhaus. It was the universities, the new world, the new designs, the new furniture, and the liberal people wanted to remain peaceful and modest, relaxed, not excess. They wanted to live, families, culture, to be alive. And the industry, this industrial military complex, what Robert F. Kennedy's talking about, various countries and governments wanted to make machines, all these vehicles, space exploration, travel, furniture, manufacturing, all the things that we've got now, basically, McDonald's drive-thrus, they wanted, all the, modern toilet cubicles, or everything, basically. And there was a political party, the Liberals. That party really... the end of that party started in 1900, really, with those Victoria Towers all around England, not just here. There were several of them. They had to remove the Liberals because the Liberals are the main opposition. Because at the time, to be liberal meant to be free from oppression, and what it symbolised was, Charles I, really, this whole, the shipping tax, and then the Civil War, and then overthrowing the royals, and then, the Cromwell, the liberator, even though, he wasn't popular in Ireland. But, so there's the symbol of the Liberals, at least, was kind of like, you don't have to do this or that if you don't want to, as opposed to being taxed to death and serving. But even, I still think even the Civil War itself, that there are questions about the Civil War, because no one wanted to pay the shipping tax. And there ended up being a war, but, who started the war and what actually really went on, we don't know for sure, because it's all, secondhand, stories. It's all his story, history. There was a lot of these mariners around. There was a lot of these... there was a lot of mariners going around England and doing a lot of robbing and things like that. It talks about them in the Acts in the 1620s. And then no one wanted to pay the shipping tax. This is what how Peter Ackroyd tells it, that no one wanted to pay the shipping tax. But I've seen some older acts talking about all these mariners going around and quite a lot of, crime. Now, what I think is that with the royals always want to tax people, and the government want to tax the aristocrats that want to tax people. And when they don't pay up and when they complain, they always have some sort of revenge or retribution. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I know Cromwell did overthrow the royals and he was serious about it. But there's some part of it all, some part of, smoke and mirrors going on in Parliament, where what actually happened in the Civil War is that there was lots of fighting, there was lots of robbing and looting, and there was lots of, court cases getting each other. What actually ended up happening is the whole country was in turmoil. And the thing is, the government wanted everyone to pay up this shipping tax, but they won't pay it, to do with the Duke of Buckingham as well, partly, and a few other caricatures. And what actually ended up happening through the Civil War is lots of things got damaged and lots of things got stolen. And if you think about it, with the all Parliament and the Lords and the aristocrats all, I know some of them got ill, like that Bedford guy got ill, and some other guys. But through it, there was a lot of stealing of things. And it's almost kind of like, it's almost like the model of the duel. Like the whole idea of the duel. There was a lot of dueling later on in the 1700s when, pistols at 50 paces. The principle is that, if you challenge your nemesis to a duel, you've both got a pistol, and if you do this procedure and you both walk and then turn around and shoot each other at the same time, you're both creating a legal situation where you're acting in self-defense against the other person when they've both drawn each other at the same time. And apparently it's not, murder, and you haven't broken the law because you're acting in self-defense. And apparently, later on, they put laws against dueling later on, and the magistrates going after people. But for a time, it was a lawful way to settle disputes. Now, if you think of the whole country, when both parties agree to have a duel, and then, one gentleman and the other gentleman both have their pistols, and if they're, in their... They both turn around and fire at the same time to settle a grievance, Now, just imagine that in Parliament, if, the poor aren't paying this tax to the king and, he wants the money off them, it's almost like the Parliament, all the all the lords and barons and everyone, barons and lords always want money, even kind of really, I suppose, if they're on the more of the liberal side. It's almost like they agreed to have a duel and, tear the country to pieces. And then, it's an excuse for the aristocrats, regardless of whether they're liberal or royalist, to steal all the money. Even if Cromwell doesn't like the royals and wants to get rid of them, at least, we're going to take this money off these people. And then, the king gets, thrown out and so forth. Blame it on the king, basically. If all the aristocrats, all the rich people, all the barons and lords of the country aren't getting the money that they want, say, well, we'll say it's the king's fault, and we'll have like a whole charade and shenanigans over, the king getting them turfed out. We'll have a bit of a change of, we'll have Cromwell in for a while, but one of the main things about that Civil War is a lot of things got stolen, artwork, or lots of things. Money, artwork, pillaging, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of like, from what I read, to kind of condense it and sum it up, the people wouldn't pay money over, and what happened is everything ended up getting stolen, damaged, or ravaged, almost like some kind of retribution, or some kind of almost like a duel. But instead of like, two rich people having a duel, what they did is they ended up having the country dueling against each other. the Royalists versus the Roundheads, which is kind of like, you see a duel's agreed upon. The thing with the government and these caricatures, this is always a big con. It's always a big con or trick. No one really knows exactly what's going on. And I think that they've always done that. I kind of think that that's what happened with the Romans, and also probably, you know, from before then, the big con of the public. And I really think that happened in the World War II. I think we were sent to war. I think it was deadly serious, but I think the principle behind it was like, okay, we're going to write off a load of his men, you know, a load of his liberal men, you know, like, I'll send my men at you and you send your men at me and we'll fucking take them all out, you know, these, you know, we can reduce his populations a bit, and we can bomb some places, rebuild a load of stuff, you know, and it'll be good for both of us, because a lot of people were opposed to this. What Vobes' video is about is basically about, you know, not wanting excess in life, not needing excess, not needing, you know, all these production, industrial things, chemicals that are killing us, excess foods, you know. If everyone had a village with a garden and growing healthy vegetables and food and a family, they could be living a very, very interesting life. Not stupid by any means, you know. A very fulfilling social life, dancing, laughing, families, children, health, healthy food, not having excess, not speaking into a mobile phone like I'm doing now, not building Rishi Sunak his rockets and all this and so forth. But that doesn't further this industrial military complex what they want. They want robotics, they want space stations, they want motion detectors outside our houses. All those things are what they want, not what we want, or not what fulfills a human being over millions of years of evolution of eyeballs and testicles and emotions and laughing and dancing and crying. What now, in just 100 years, of the tools that they've developed? These tools are good for, you know, Elon Musk, not good for you and me, because I haven't had any social interactions with anyone really since they took my driving license, and since we've all been locked down, and since all this chaos is kicking off. Boris Johnson's leading an amazing life. Rishi Sunak's leading an amazing life. You know, all these politicians in London, you know, they're all living. Everyone else is suffering, and now, you know, the financial crisis. What they're saying, it's no life. A living organism hasn't. It from being an amoeba and a slime and cells. You and me, we all evolved. The time it's taken for a celled organism, multi-celled organism, to grow and transform is, in the life of the universe, such a feat of achievement that, you know, you're sliding to the left and sliding to the right and photosynthesizing and breathing and doing all these things. The amount of time it's taken. And then Elon Musk comes along and he goes, all right, we'll just screw these into your eyeballs, and I'll, you know, drop this into your, you know, drop this on your forehead, and then we'll, you know, have this, send this, you know, signal through Neuralink, and I've done all this since, you know, I've had my diamond mine. You know, this kind of like hyper accelerated, it's only his lifetime, you know, and he's literally saying, look, you're shit, you're crap, you are worthless. I have lived, you know, 40 years, 50 years, I'm Elon Musk, and I've got this lab, and now, in 40 years, my new Android is amazing. Yeah, I built it in 40 years, and you're crap. you know, even though, you know, or, you know, and I think that these new modernists like Musk and Zuckerberg, they completely devalue what the human being is. There's no value on it. You know, like you've got, you know, these footballers, you know, or, you know, with trading people, humans, you know, £1 million, a football player, £1 million, £2 million. You know, even the football players, once they get these androids, you know, they've even got the robot dogs and, you know, commando robot police now. You know, soon, you know, will they be wanting replacement football players? You know, these people's new toys and gadgets and, oh, this is a £200 million tank. They're so undervalued biological life and how long it took to get to where we are to even make those tools. They don't pay people money. They have, it has to look like in the TV and news, they lead themselves to believe that they care about us, because if they didn't, you know, then, you know, there'd be more complaining and so forth, you know, protesting. They just don't value the human being, you know. And while we've all got differences that we really haven't even settled yet, all this progress they're claiming they've made, and all this ability to make a computer screen and a mobile phone and a helicopter and, you know, all these things, right? Yet we're having a lot of arguments. We can't even get along with each other. You know, there are wars in the Middle East, there are wars all over. It's not progress. How can the human being be so fickle and childish, but yet they can make all these machines but can't get along with each other? And now they're having to force each other to get on with each other under the threat of surveillance or whatever. Shows that the humans have got more important issues between each other and living than what they are providing with these tools. These tools aren't actually delivering what they were promised they would, like, you know, peace, harmony, and so forth. That actually, what the tools are actually doing is actually creating too many differences, too many ideas and pursuits that are actually dividing people. And I think that World War II was everything that Verbs is talking about in these books, you know, these writers writing about these, you know, places and a steady way of life. That's what the Liberals kind of really wanted. And they had to really get rid of that party and destroy everything it meant, because they had to create a new party of labourers, workers, who were going to be effectively a slave class. And I know that we abolished slavery, but there's one thing better than abolishing slavery than tricking people into being a slave class. You know, I just don't think that aristocrats value human beings. I don't think they value an actual human being itself. We're all sort of almost like cattle with numbers on. And then when it comes to racism, it's you know, obviously you value humans all over the planet, but humans don't all get on around the planet, and we need to come to terms with that. And, you know, I really believe that, you know, the Middle East has got serious issues. We know that it's got serious issues. Those people, whether it's poppies or not, or whatever it is, those people in the Middle East have eaten and caned certain things that have made them a certain way over a hell of a long time, probably before even the birth of Christ, going back, you know, even longer. And they are very, very warlike. They don't get along with each other. And that particular part of the world is in perpetual warfare. And it's not good. And they can't get along with each other, let alone other people. And what they're doing is they're running away from it and spreading out into the world, and they get absorbed into other countries, not just here, but all over the world. And it diffuses it, and it does dilute it to an extent where it's not immediately as bad. But now they've, instead of controlling the problem, what they've done is they thought they'd mix it in, and even more. And I don't think it was a good idea. This is not like, hatred or anything like that. It's just common sense. I don't think it was the best idea. And now we've got, governments now, we're seeing more and more cause for, a lot of religious turmoil and racial turmoil, because you're making it. How you make racism is by mixing races, and the quicker you mix them when they're not acclimatized and customized, the worse you make it. All through in the Middle Ages, you've got all these different racial characteristics, like, different racial groups, but because the migration is very slow, it's not as intense, And now that with the planes and a lot more technological transport of the modern times, rather than, just the Crusades and, a couple of, Roman boats and so forth, what they've done is, instead of saying, right, a lot of these countries have very different cultures and different people, and, it's probably not an idea to, go into the chemical lab and mix the chemicals. Like in The Simpsons, when he goes, what happens when you mix those two together, Bart, don't you? And then, the whole thing blows up. This is not a nasty or horrible thing to say at all, but I just think that they've gone too fast. And how I see it is that, in the Civil War in England between the aristocrats and the liberals and the royal heads, the poor and the rich, that's what that war was about. And then, the World War II, which was really about, wanting to create an industrial military complex, a labour class, from 1900s till the 1920s and 1940s, that Labour Party was growing, and it was really the birth of the Labour Party, the concept and inception of the Labour Party, which from 1900 increased up till the 1940s and then the war, because it was really a fight against the Liberals, really. And then now what we're seeing is the aristocrats, the world players, the elites aren't just, a couple of dukes in Parliament, a couple of baronesses in Parliament, knocking about, a little civil war in England. They want global control, and the best way for them to do it is how they've always done it. And they've done it like with the Civil War in England, and they've done it like in World War II, and they're doing it now, because it's better to get everyone to fight, and then after they've killed each other, then they just get everyone else subdued that's left over to do what they want. And that is what they're doing now. And they've increased the immigration and migration, and so we all argue, like in France, basically, and they don't really tell you the truth. And the fact is now that they actually manufactured racism. To make racism, you need two components. It's almost like, making a chemical reaction. You need, you need people A and people B, and then mix them together, and then boom. How do you make a chemical reaction? You don't have racism until you get, two different culture jars and mix it together, and then you go, wow, look, now I've made it. How do you manufacture it? But what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, oh, we'll get rid of racism by having people not be racist. But the fact is that it's. I don't really think they understand what they're doing. They're hoping that, no one. They're trying to say that there aren't any races, basically, and by the time what their plan definitely is that it won't matter, because what they're going to have is they're going to have an elite class which is mixed race, but very easy to control, order, become obedient, and then a lot of androids and robots. And it's a lot better for a ruling class to have everyone obeying it and agreeing it and all the machines under its control in order for it to have a perfect execution. It wants machine-like precision in the whole world, and no, it doesn't want any political opposition, really. And the way that you don't have any political opposition is by, eliminating your political opponents. Now, there are some big truths that we need to accept, and those are that the British Empire, the Imperial Empire, has taken over the world. Australia, America, Britain, and it's got absolute and complete control of the world now, and it's completely and totally controlling all of the world. And these bank managers with plastic carrier bags who go see Saudi Arabian, sheiks and, China, it's a lie. They've got absolute complete control of all of these countries, and if things don't go their way, they are using propaganda and other means, military means, in order to control and get reactions and provocations, terrorist attacks, various other things that the industrial military complex use. And, it's a lot better for them. The worst nightmare for this elite is to have the best of the, if you're an elite and you were going to want to control the world, you don't have your fiercest opponent in the command center next to you, because then you're not in command, you're in conflict. What you do in the command center is have a load of muppets who say yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, in the Starship Enterprise deck. And unfortunately, this is it is upsetting, but China and the India and the other countries are the crew of the Enterprise, and the elites are giving the orders. And they've got them duped and groomed and trained now into the corporate regime. We see this with all these companies, TuneCore, Google staff, Facebook staff. We haven't got a chance, a cat's in hell chance. They are absolutely dominating and ruling us. They're not even following the rule of law now. They've got their own corporate policies which are overriding us. And, they are now eliminating their opposition, like in the war, by instead of sending the soldiers to war against each other, they're eliminating their opposition through force of ads, forced ads, accept, consent, submit policies, all these corporate entities through the food, the whole thing. They're going to threaten us with either, if we don't accept all these machines and surveillance and motion detectors and the rest of it, they're going to threaten us with the nuclear war. It's not help. We're not going to actually do anything against this opponent while we're fighting each other in these, global conflicts, because the conflict is actually the method they've always used, tried and tested, in order to win, because they did it in the Second World War and they did it in the Civil War. So it's going, at the moment, they're going to have us turn us all into what they're going to do this time is they can't really have a world war, because then the leaders will really be war criminals, and after World War II, they had to take legal action against them to make it like it was all settled. But I think that they are going they're going to criminalise everyone who doesn't consent, submit, and obey their new world order regime. And they're going to use technology and devices that we've all made, you know, in order to push this, their idea of progress. You know, Brian Cox's idea of progress of mankind, you know, the scientists' idea of progress. Although some scientists, you know, like Dr. Tess Lowry and people like that have, you know, a more of a humane idea of progress. But the idea of progress that these people want is a different idea of progress to, you know, they think that, you know, one generation can make tools and those tools, you know, are the best thing that has happened to this planet. Yet they aren't putting a value on the human. And I'm talking about the value of any human on the face of planet Earth, whether it's, you know, it doesn't matter what country you're from, or whether you're Chinese or Indian or African or whatever. I'm talking about the value of all humans are, you know, priceless in the universe. These people don't value humans. You know, when all you got to do is listen to Elon Musk, what he says, what he talks about. They don't value humans. They're excited about AI. They're excited about computers. They're excited about, you know, their new Dune buggy or their helicopter. Or they're not excited about humans unless it's a game show. They're excited when humans flock to them and worship them. When humans flock and they all sit and listen and all face the front and all clap at the same time, when they applaud them, humans have a value because it's like a charge. They're getting charged. When Elon Musk is on his Rodeo Ranchero stage and he's being clapped, he's being charged by his audience like a battery. They're charging him up. You know, when they're all clapping and applauding, applaud Elon Musk, applaud. He's getting charged. But once he's charged, then that's it. I'm charged now. He's fully charged and his wallet's charged. Then he can get excited about his AI. You know, are you charged enough? Are you excited enough? No, I'm not excited by these people. You know, this is the dilemma with, you know, like Joe Wiley and Claudia Winkleman and Zoe Ball. You know, they are getting charged by their audiences, you know, and socially, you know, getting everyone excited. But yet, you know, there isn't actually, you know, they claim that they're, you know, grooming everyone for a social model to make everyone get on better. But it's not working because not everyone thinks that you know, these, if everyone turns up in the audience and turns up and claps and smiles and laughs, then they think that's social progress. If, you know, everyone has their, you know, 5 minutes of excitement on the stage, they can get charged. Oh, look, here's, come on down, Tracy from Southpaw. The price is right. Come onto the stage. You know, the power of God charge you. You know, Tracy be charged. Clap for Tracy now. You know, clap for Tracy. Ooh, you know, I see the light. I'm charged with the power compels me of Jesus. You know, that's one, you know, that's one person charged, you know, and then it cost them fucking, you know, £6 to fucking get in. I'm not surprised they got charged. But that's not people really enjoying the communities. But what they'll say is, oh, but we're teaching you, our program, showing you, look, this is a program about a barn dance. This is a program about this, a program about that. You know, I don't think people needed to be taught by the television how to behave. You know, we're not that primitive. We managed to build Stonehenge to precision measurements. You know, I don't think it's like, you know, some Texan fucking farm out with some chainsaw massacre and odd behaviour. You know, I think that it's a propaganda creation by, you know, the TV, all this, you know, weirdos out in the sticks, you know, and, you know, strange people about, you know, people were doing very, very, very intelligent things, you know, even before Jesus were born, you know, when it comes to calculations and education and mathematics and so forth. And, you know, So it's something that the movies has created, fictional, and it's a way to get you to go through their education system, how they want you to be educated, and what they think you should be doing, which is, you come into the studio, sit in a fucking chair, and clap when we fucking say. When the auto cue says clap, you clap, and I add into that. I think it's bollocks, bullshit. We need to call these dukes and barons out, because they're having us they're duelists, and there's nothing better than duelists. You need opponents. If no one's got a dispute, if you haven't got someone to slap you around the face with a glove and chuck it at the floor, then you ain't got anyone to duel. If everyone's happy in England, if everyone's happy and content, people are, they're not going to get, people don't need to do all these. They don't need to manufacture bullets and bombs and guns. They got this in World War II. You will fucking work, and you're gonna work because we're gonna have a fucking war, and you're gonna make the bombs and guns and shells and shit, right? The Liberals wanted to chill out. There's something about World War II, which a major part of it was that, the Liberals are going to fucking work. You will get into those fucking factories and you will make these fucking weapons, and you are going to fucking fire them at each other, you cunts. And we're going to bomb Plymouth. We're going to we're going to rebuild all this shit. And we're going to make a shitload of money out of it. And all the elite are going to have Bauhaus fucking shit, spoons, the fucking rest of it. And that is what they did. And now they're doing the same thing on the next level. They want the fucking space depots, the robot army, the fucking motion detectors outside everyone's house, mobile phones. People don't matter. People have never mattered. Because, to be honest, to keep people happy, you don't need to hate people. Even without, I say to Rishi Sunak, right, fuck racism. Even if you've got a village, a town, a city of white people, right, you're still going to get people who don't like each other and who maybe want to hang around with certain people. It's called friends. And the best thing to do is, hang around with people you like. Now, you can change the whole culture and help them to accept, people more, like they did with the punks and, the football, get David Beckham with a mohawk and so forth and so forth. This whole model of society where everyone gets along with each other, but everyone isn't getting along with each other. And the reason is that if it was only about getting people to get along with each other from different countries and different races, then, you can do that by everyone, being liberal and being nice and steady and, having cottages. But it's not really about trying to get people from different countries to be, the next best friend and all huggy, lovey-dovey, huggy. Because you could do that without having all this tech shit forced on us. Now, it is about all the technology and the tech shit. And the thing is that some people don't want the tech shit and they're happy without it. And they don't want to have it. They don't want it. Now, if you've got a load of people who don't want it and a load of people who do want it, you've got a conflict right there. Now, how you get rid of the conflict is by one side has to win. The only way you beat them and win is if there's no opposition. Now, if you have other issue like, racism, and you mix that in, and then, you get a lot of people on their side who can help them, the best thing to do is get, a affiliation. And it's to do with power and people who are subordinate at a higher level. It is to do with that. And I know you've got you can't blame, you can't say that it's racial, the whole thing, because you've got, Extinction Rebellion. There's loads and loads of people who support Extinction Rebellion from all ethnicities, Chinese, Indians, Africans, and so forth. But what you notice is it's that there are powerful people, Suella Braverman and Rishi Sunak, right? Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, and Rishi Sunak, their place with the Tories is that they're in charge. They're in the power position, right? Now, the thing is that when there are other issues distracting from the true issue, which I think is the technology, I don't really think the racism issue is not helping the matter. And the last thing that you want to do is have an environment where you're not really helping the matter when there are other matters and issues as well, like the tech and the forced technology and the forced changing cultures and so forth, in order so they can get certain androids and machines in. Because really, when you listen to Elon Musk, it's all, you can't people can't be programmed like machines to completely. When you're making a machine, you are the intention is this is going to do exactly what I tell it to do, and humans don't do that. And these people, they want other humans who don't do exactly what they say are no good to them. These people, and they've never been any good to them. And the truth of the fact is that they've gone to a lot of countries and they've actually got them to do exactly what they want them to do. And a lot of the conflict is not actually the conflict with the elites, because the elites have got them to do exactly what they want them to do. Because there's Dubai, there's Tokyo. It's exactly what they want them to do. And what they don't want is they don't want people who don't want to do what they want them to do, because that's conflict. And they're mixing racial areas of the planet very, very, very quickly in order to assimilate their oppositions and get what they want through their brand new technology and tools, which in the lifetime of Elon Musk, even though the human, has evolved, and now they're actually saying that we're stupid and not even intelligent. They're saying that we're dumb. They're saying that the human isn't really worth anything. The AI is, it gets them excited. The tools get them excited. But the whole time they're claiming that they care about the people. But they don't. They sack people. Elon Musk sacks people. They're expendables. We need to. I don't think that they've managed to dupe us every time through history. They did it in the Civil War. They did it in World War II. They're doing it now with Putin, and but there are racial issues, particularly Middle East. I don't think the Middle East gets along with itself, and if that area of the planet can't get along with itself, then we shouldn't really be. The worst thing you could possibly do is, make it worse, and I think they are making it worse. I don't think that it's helping, and now we've got situations where we're just literally, in chaos because they've forced it on us, or they've had wars because it helps them get control, and even getting people in elite positions, because they, in a way, all the time it's helping them to beat their opponents and control people easier. And if anyone, if you don't think that the imperialist elite have absolute control over China and India, then you're retarded. No matter what George Galloway tells you, I think that they have got absolute control over them, because that's what Tokyo is. It is complete and total control. That is what Dubai is. It's complete and total control. It's absolute and complete corporate obedience of the enterprise, which is Google and Facebook. There's no arguing with these enterprises, because everyone is under the command of a general. You know, a Google general, a Facebook general, Zuckerberg general, and now they are taking over this planet with their tech. And it's always a good thing, it's a good idea. You know, it's my avatars, it's, you know, my latest gadget. No, you know, humans are what is valuable. Every single human on the planet, all humans. But I don't think that they value us, because, you know, we're just literally like, you might as well have a, you know, with a credit. They want you to have a credit card number. They want you to have a digital ID. They want you to be stamped like a pig. You know, they want you to be stamped like a cow. We are merely cattle, you know. And until we start to get treated like a human, right, you know, who are you, sir? This is, you know, I'm me. You know, I don't need a card or a digital wallet or CBCD or Sweet anything or a passport. I am me. Ask me who I am. You know, I've got a mobile phone. You know, you can talk to you now. You know, I'm me. Hello, it's me. You know, these people want us branded like we're some sort of stock or something. And we're not stock. Computers are new. And they're not new in the sense of, you know, they haven't evolved over millions of years. We have, but for some reason, you know, a person working in a factory is only worth, you know, whatever, £300 a week or less to these people. But you know, they're football players. Their gadgets are worth millions. Whenever you've got a device that is worth more than a person, you know, all this person's work is only worth, you know, whatever, or not even worth that because they're sacked. These people don't value humans. And you need to understand that. You know who values a human when they pay them some money, when they give them something for free. And not just Rishi Sunak, you know, giving everyone a little bonus or whatever. You know, these people, you can love humans and say that, you know, I don't think it's a good idea for us to, you know, force people to be, you know, migrating and so forth, unless, you know, it's absolutely necessary with climate change or whatever. But when, you know when someone values other people, when, you know, they treat them like that, and when we're not being treated. These people value their AI, they value their tech, their gadgets, and that's where they put their money. They don't put their money into humans and people, you know? And that's the truth. And it's about time other people stop getting the blame. People like Verbs, you know, defending the country. I don't think Verbs is a bad person, you know. I think that, you know, Africans, Chinese people, Indians could probably trust Verbs a lot more than they trust the tech people. Yet, you know, that doesn't mean to say that we should be, you know, ruining the place, because that's not fair on us. It's not fair on us. And I just don't think these tech people care about humans. They claim they do, but, you know, they always claim they do. They care about their gadgets and machines. That's what they care about.